Hi, I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to come in today to talk about a topic that has been super meaningful and impactful in my life in many, many negative ways and also in some positive ways recently in recovery. And that topic is shame. Shame is, when I say that word, it feels heavy, it feels dark. And when I feel that emotion of shame or embarrassment, it takes over every part of my heart space. It just completely moves in with this deep, dark, beast-like energy that just feels like hate and self-hate, more particularly for me. And I call it this sort of beast because it really is a monster. Shame is a monster to me. I call it the shame monster because when I feel it, or when I experience it, or I think of my past experiences of shame, it does feel like this all-encompassing, overwhelming emotion that halts me. And it brings up so many other layers of memories and emotions that I have about life and my worth and who I am as a human being and my worthiness to have a good life. It really is deep for me. So I thought what I would do today is talk about the shame monster. The shame monster is just, for me, the absolute most critical part of the recovery journey, because a lot of it is the shame monster is what guided me most of my life in addiction. And seeing the shame monster for what it is and working through the process of overcoming him, in my case it's a him, allowed me to find freedom from the addiction finally. So I thought first thing I would do is talk about somebody who I think is so influential in my journey through recovery and addiction recovery, and that's Brene Brown, the author Brene Brown. She defines shame as the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. So there's a couple things that stand out to me about that, right? The intensely painful feeling of or experience of believing that we are flawed. And because we're flawed, therefore we're unworthy of love and belonging. And so I see that word intensely, right? And that's exactly how the shame monster felt and feels, if I have it today, how it feels inside me. It is intense. It is all encompassing for that moment. And I know for so many years in my addiction, I did believe I was flawed. I thought there was something wrong with me to the core of my soul, that there was something wrong with me, that I was broken, that I could not ever get out of food or the nonstop cravings or addiction that I had with it. And I didn't even know that it was an addiction back then. I thought I was broken, that my willpower was gone, that I wasn't worthy of looking like a normal person, that I wasn't worthy of eating like a normal woman eats, that I wasn't worthy of having a beautiful physical appearance that matched other parts of me or my intellect. I really just thought that I was flawed deeply and therefore also unworthy of having this beautiful existence, vibrant, joyful health that I have today, and the belonging to others, the belonging to a tribe of people, whether it's my recovery group or my family or friends, the belonging that I have to a group because I'm worthy of being there. And really, if I go deeper, I look at, not necessarily believing. My shame led me to believe that I wasn't worthy of belonging to myself. So what my shame monster did was it allowed me to reject myself. I began to reject every part of my life, reject my body from the neck down. I wanted nothing to do with me. I wanted nothing to do with the emotions I had or the body movements that I had or the space that I took up in the world. I wanted nothing to do with that. And I also wanted nothing to do with the little girls that I grew up from and evolved in, right? All those little versions of me growing up, I wanted nothing to do with her either. Any of those Jamies, I wanted nothing to do with them. And what I know now is that I am intensely, right? That intensely word. I am intensely worthy of feeling and believing that I am flawed for sure. And I am totally worthy of love. And I am totally worthy of belonging. Here's the key. Because I am totally flawed and imperfect and here on this planet. And once I understood the very fact that I'm here and I'm living this life experience, however it looks for me, the fact that I'm here means that I am worthy, means that I am worthy of belonging and recovering and finding my tribe of people that accept me for me. And more importantly, finding the path of healing and recovery that accepts me inside me. So that is for me the how I battle the shame monster every day. I battle it not only in understanding that because I'm here, I'm worthy of recovery and I'm worthy of belonging and love, but it also means that in my flaws, my humanity, and my ability and willingness to talk about them to help others find their way out of their own addictions, especially the severe processed food addiction. Um, this is a strength. This is how I can connect with others, how I can help them walk out of their deep shame that they're holding on to. The shame that I felt was around my food behaviors. It was around certainly my physical appearance, my ability to do anything physical or to move my body. Even in gym class growing up, I just did not want anything to do with my body moving at all. I was so ashamed. I was ashamed of how often I thought of food. And as my disease progressed, as my processed food addiction progressed, and I literally lived from one fast food meal to the next, I wanted nothing to do with the body that constantly was craving processed food. I just wanted to feed it to calm the deep pain I had about my existence as often as I could on any given day, so that I didn't have to feel what was happening in this body that I wanted nothing to do with. And so that's what severe processed food addiction was like for me as it relates to that shame monster. The shame monster lived inside my heart. The shame monster took up space in my physical body and in my head, so that every time I felt it, whether it was from a thought inside of me or feedback from outside of me, from people who thought it was their right to comment on my body or physical appearance, loved ones, perfect strangers, you name it. I heard it, and I heard it every day at my highest point of the addiction. And for me, what I'm learning now is that in recovery, understanding that shame is connected to some deeply held beliefs about what I feel I'm unworthy of, and how I can work to heal those beliefs through many tools of recovery that I use every day. It's possible to heal the shame. And it's also what I'm realizing in recovery. Shame is really an extension of my ego, an extension of I think things should be a certain way in life or for me or for them as it pertains to me, and it's not. I feel that I should look a certain way, or I should feel a certain way, or I shouldn't have these cravings, or I shouldn't be this size, or they shouldn't say that about me, or whatever, fill in the blank. A ton of shoulds, right? That they should be this way, or I should be that way, or the world should be this way. Well, when I stopped and realized in recovery, that's me just trying to control the world. And I am pretty sure that there is a creator of the universe that does a much better job than I ever could of controlling the world and all of the people in it. I don't need to do any of that. So once I look at shame as an extension of my ego and the monster in there, it becomes sort of like this, this big, hairy, scary monster, and it sort of dwindles down into this little sort of hairy, scary mouse. and it kind of runs away, runs off stage. And I realized that I fed the shame monster for years by buying into the belief that not only these feelings of unworthiness and feelings of not enoughness were me, right? Or that they were given to me and I bought them and believed them. But I honestly began to understand that, that, hey, I don't have to live there. I'm here and I am human and I am experiencing this and I am worthy of health and I'm worthy of recovery and I'm worthy of finding my way out of this insidious addiction. And I don't have to control the whole world while I do it. I can only, any day, at any time, forever, control me, my thoughts, my feelings, hopefully, my perceptions, and the beliefs that I have about me in my life. That's it. The rest of it, all the other people, places, and situations outside of me, I can't control at all. I can have nothing to do with them. So it's so interesting to me that once I look at shame as this, my built up, overblown perception that I should be running the universe or running the world outside of me, I'm able to say, okay, well, that's just crazy. I can only control me. And I'm also able to say, okay, so I know I'm worthy and I take steps every day to make sure that my worth towards myself comes through in recovery. And here's what it looks like. It looks like planning all of my meals and food prepping whenever I need to, which is for me every week. It looks like movement, intentional movement every day. It looks like a spiritual practice in the mornings. It looks like time for breathing and journaling work. It looks like time in my community, whether it's with friends or recovery communities that I'm part of, or it looks like service work that I do. And it looks like time with my family and time with my husband that is spent connecting and truly bonding together. That is what recovery looks like. That is how I battle the shame monster every day. And I remember my worth. And once I am able to remember my worth, I want to belong to me. I want to belong to my tribe, right? My recovery tribe or my family. I want to be part, no matter how flawed all those other humans are around me, just like me, right? We're all flawed, and that's beautiful. That's the human experience, and I want to be part of that. And I want to be connected to me so that I can bring my whole flawed, perfectly imperfect self to them too. So the shame monster, it's not a monster at all. It's a little hairy, scary mouse that just wants to run around till he finds his place off stage and runs into a hole out away forever. And that is what I do every day in recovery. I work to keep that shame monster mouse-sized. And I really believe that once I took out the processed foods and all of the emotions that come with those foods and the eating process that goes with that, I was able to see a way through the shame, to talk about the shame, to know that just about every single human being I've ever met and talked to about this experiences it. I was able to find a sense of belonging, not only with others, but in myself as well. So the Stoic philosophers always say that the only way out is through. And in shame monster recovery, or processed food addiction recovery, that is absolutely true. I had to go through that process of shame to recover on the other side. And I do every day. So thank you all for watching. I'm so glad you're here. And if you have questions or comments about the shame monster, put them in the chat. I'd love to respond. I monitor the chat all the time, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.